Hi, my name is Darren Joseph from HCJ.tax, and we're the team that seeks to demystify the sometimes confusing world of international tax. And today I want to talk about using companies in Dubai. Again, it is a jurisdiction that's quite popular, and there's a lot of content about it. But while all the content is very positive in nature, there's a lot of positive news to talk about in terms of the UAE. I think it's always helpful to balance the picture a bit, and that's what I'll be seeking to do in this video. Again, it's not about discouraging you, but giving you a more balanced scorecard perspective. Using corporate structures in the UAE is still, for the right person or for the right arrangement, it could be the best deal in town. But what I want to do is point out 5 things that you want to keep in mind before you commit to using a UAE structure. 5 things. So the first thing, even though we don't really talk about immigration stuff here, I just want to mention, because a lot of clients come to us with this situation where they want to use a free zone company to sponsor the Emirati ID or the residence card or permit to remain in the UAE. Once upon a time, to be honest, that was being aggressively promoted and it was definitely allowed. But perhaps it's no longer the case. Things have evolved. If you're just looking for pure residence play, the golden visa option may be a better fit. If it is that you are going to bring a genuine commercial arrangement to the UAE, then yes, I say use a company, either free zone or an onshore company. But it must be operational, or I guess you can use it as a holding company as well. But you can't just set up a company. It's not, let me rephrase that. It's not as easy as it once was to just simply set up a company for the sole purpose of sponsoring residents. The company should be performing some legally allowed function. Number 2, for those who are really conscious of the new 9% corporate tax, and I've heard all sorts of ideas as, people want to use an offshore company, for example, in the BVI, the Cayman or something like that, or Seychelles, which is of course closer to the Emirates. And you want to operate that company from within the United Arab Emirates. Probably not a good idea, because the principle of place of effective management, or depending on the situation, permanent establishment or nexus. The point is, if you're running a company from within the UAE, even though it may be incorporated somewhere else, chances are the activity may still be taxable to the UAE. So please keep that in mind. Number 3, for those who want to create a more complex arrangement where they do have an offshore structure that it works together with the entity that they may have created in Dubai or the UAE, and they think the 9% for whatever reason is a bit egregious, and they want to book the profits artificially in the tax-free jurisdiction, bear in mind that you can try, but the arrangement must be arm's length. And the normal transfer pricing rules that you would have been perhaps accustomed to in other jurisdictions may indeed apply to this arrangement as well. If there is a related party transaction, make sure you have the right professional working with you to not fall in breach of any of the transfer pricing rules. Otherwise, the whole arrangement can be set aside. Number 4, please keep in mind that compared to other jurisdictions that you may be thinking of, the rules around maintaining a company in the UAE may come across as a bit bureaucratic. So for example, an audit may be required. You may be legally required to audit annually the activities of your company, the books, to make sure that they're a fair and true representation of what you claim to be doing. So of course, not all jurisdictions offer this, but please keep in mind that it may be a requirement depending on what you're trying to do in the UAE. And number 5, the 5th challenge I just wanted to call out is, of course, banking. Banking is a challenge everywhere you go, but especially so in the UAE. For a number of reasons, I guess there is an overcorrection because the UAE was on the grey list of the blacklist a number of years ago, and they want to just be super careful. So they set a really high bar for their banks. But having said that, the banks, if you're looking at a list of the strongest banks in the world, it's unlikely, if you're ranking them by whatever ratio or whatever means you're looking at, you'd see any of the Emirati banks on it. And when the international transactions with banks in Europe or North America, the transactions involving the UAE may come under enhanced due diligence. In addition to which, if you're trying to use any of the big payment gateways like your Stripe or PayPal or whatever, they may not be, let's say, as welcoming of your structure if it involves Emirati banks. Again, it's not to say that you shouldn't use Emirati structures, but get advice to ensure that what you're trying to do or what you're trying to accomplish is consistent with what is possible within, especially the new corporate environment and the new rules and regulations that are part of life in the UAE. My name is Darren Joseph from HCJ.tax.